Hi friends, it's Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be focusing on the review of these new watercolors from Avery, Elle. In my last video I asked you guys if any of you wanted to see an actual review video of these new watercolors, and several of you said that you did want to see it. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. I have got 7 colors here that I'm going to be swatching for you, basically the rainbow colors, and I also have some that have been dried several days, actually probably a week's worth, in my palette that I used before, and I just let them sit there and I dried them and just didn't remove them from the pan. And I will show you how fluid they are once you add water to them and how they perform once they dry in your palette, if you're interested in that too. But I have said this in past videos, I am not really an expert when it comes to watercolor. I'm just a crafter that likes to play with it, and so I'm just going to give you my full-on, what I see in front of me kind of thing. This is not like a technique video or anything like that. This is strictly just my opinion of these watercolors. So I'm sure there's going to be other videos out there on YouTube that have a little bit more professional I guess opinions or whatever, if you will, on technical things, if there are technical things. But just as an average crafter, card maker, I just like to play with them and see how I can use them on my projects. So, and mainly this is for those that like to see color swatches too, because I know sometimes that's not offered, especially if you buy your products online. That is not offered, and it's hard to tell what the colors are true online, and so that's what I'm also doing for those of you that are interested in that. So with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and put in my palette all the colors that I have here. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap so I don't remember that these are dried. So I'm just going to put like one or a couple of drops in each little well here. This first color is called Cherry, and it is the red of the whole line here. They only brought out, I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 other colors other than what I have. And so I'll just go along and do a couple of drops in each little well of my palette. My little plastic palette simply came from Walmart, so it's nothing fancy whatsoever, but it doesn't really need to be fancy. So, but so far, whenever I have played with these, the few times I have played with these, they are very beautiful and very vibrant. That orange color is called Mimosa. This one here, I believe this is Lemongrass. Yes, it's not a true yellow. It's actually a little bit more of a greenier tint of a yellow, and so it looks green here, but once we swatch it out you can see that it's got a little bit of yellow tinge to it. Next I'm going to put here Celery. Actually, yeah Celery. And from what I can tell too, they're pretty. You can go as heavy with color as you want, and or as light as you want. Obviously that depends on the amount of water that you use too, so keep that in mind. So the blue color that I've got, or the aqua color, is called Meant to Be. There is another, I think it's called Aquamarine, or there is another like minty teal color that I'd like to get eventually. This next color is called Sapphire. And it does say to shake them before you use them. Also keep that in mind. But I shook them before I started my video. And this last color that I have is a purple. And it is called Sugar Plum. So that is all 7 of the colors that I have. And like I said, there's a few more in the line. So I'll kind of bring those up here a little bit so you can see them. I don't know how, yeah. And so what I want to do is just to simply do some simple swatches here. I've got a piece of Strathmore ready cut watercolor paper here. And I normally like to do any kind of watercoloring or whatever, just simple watercoloring on my Distress watercolor cardstock from Tim Holtz. But I usually like to keep that for if I'm actually going to make a project or ink blending with my Distress inks. So I'm going to save that and just use this cardstock that I have, this watercolor cardstock that I have, because I actually have more of this than I do of the other, to be quite frank with you. So I'm just going to take in just a regular paintbrush to do the swatches, nothing fancy. Got some clear water here. And we're first going to swatch out the red. And you can see, like I said, it all depends upon how much water you use. But it's more of a pinky red than a true red. Of course, you can bring it out and make it as light as you wish. I've gotten this really, really light to do a really, really light pink, and it worked really well. So I'm going to clean off my brush. Next, I'm going to go into the Mimosa here. I probably should add just a little bit more of the orange, but yeah, let me do that. Let me go ahead and put a few more drops of the orange. All right. I'll just bring that out. Some of these colors will be a little bit more transparent than others, which for me, that's fine. I don't, necessarily need them to be all opaque or anything like that. So there's the orange, which is called Mimosa once again. Next up, we're going to do the Lemongrass. Like I said, it's got a little bit more of a green tinge to it. Not a true, like, sunshiny yellow or anything. Okay, next we're going to do, Celery. This is a really pretty green, I think. Great for, obviously, your landscapes, treetops, that kind of thing. What I do notice whenever I am swatching these out, that I will say, is that they're really easy and fluid. They're not grainy or anything like that. And that may change once they dry, but they're not grainy at all. They're really, really fluid and really smooth. And hopefully you can see that. Maybe I should zoom you guys in just a little bit more so you can see. So let me go ahead and do that, so you can see up close just a little bit better there. We're all friends here, right? So bring you in a little bit closer. Okay, so that one was meant to be. Next up, I'm going to do, I'm kind of running out of room I've got only a few more colors here. So next up is the Sapphire color. Ooh, this is the first time I've done this color. Wow. That's a really pretty blue. And it's got a lot of punch to it. So that one would be really pretty to get really light. Alright, so the final color that we're going to swatch out is the Sugar Plum. Really beautiful deep purple. Of course, I don't have a whole lot of water. It's going to get right on the end here. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. That's the first time I've done this color too. Let's get just a little bit more water. Let's see how that... Wow, that's got a lot of punch to it. But yeah, they're all really nice and fluid. And some of them, like I said, are more brighter than others, but that's gorgeous. So we'll let those dry, and then we'll come back. You can kind of see it. I got some a little on my work surface here. That will come up real easily. We'll let those dry, and then we'll come back and I will show you guys what they look like all dried and such, and then go from there. But let me talk a little bit about the two that have dried in my palette. I'm actually going to turn this just a little bit, and then we'll work with these two. Like I said, you can see that they have literally dried in my palette there. They're not fluid at all. So I want to make sure that my paintbrush is really clean here, especially since I worked with that purple. Don't want to contaminate the colors or anything. Okay, so this one here is the Celery color. I'm just going to get just a little bit of water here. And you can really see how fluid it becomes once again. And it's not grainy. Not grainy whatsoever, which is really nice. It doesn't take much water at all to get them activated. So once they do, then I will go ahead and swatch this out. Let's see. Yeah, it may have just a little bit of graininess to it. You can kind of see that in the light there. Just a little bit, but not much at all. I don't think it, for me personally, it doesn't make a huge difference. It's not bad at all, and you can easily take that up with your paintbrush. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad at all. I mean, the more you work with it, the more they're better and they smooth out. So, and I mean, if that bothers you, I can understand. But for me personally, it doesn't really bother me, because like I said, I'm just here to play with them. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water in the other one, which is the Lemongrass. It's the lemony yellow. Kind of swatch that one out just a little bit more. Yeah, it's just got just very, very minimal grains to them. But overall, you can kind of see in the light there, that's not bad. I mean, it's right on the end there. But see, in this one here, when it dries, it's not bad. So I think they're beautiful. I mean, for the money, they're very, very inexpensive. I think they're very affordable watercolors. And you can kind of see now that since the colors have dried, it's a little bit better now. Like I said, the red, which is the cherry, is a little bit more of a pinky red, but you can really intensify that as much as you can by using less water. The Mimosa is not a really punch, in your face orange. It's more of like a peachy orange, but it's still beautiful, and I think you could, work with it with lots of different things. Again, I keep coming back to how much water you use, but I think it's beautiful, and it's a nice addition. There is I believe another color in the line that is probably a little bit more orange than this, if you are interested in a little bit more vibrant of an orange. Here's the Lemongrass, which is that lemony yellow color. Then the Celery. Then we've got Meant to Be, which is a really beautiful aqua light mint color. Then the Sapphire, beautiful. I mean, these two colors here on the end probably are the more vibrant of all of them. And I didn't use hardly any water. So, so yeah, that's Sapphire, and it really coats it really well too. You can see that paper is really coated well with that color. They're all swatched really beautiful, and they do coat the paper really nicely. And then of course the purple, which is the Sugar Plum. That I think the purple might be, other than the Meant to Be color, might be my favorite colors. So they're absolutely gorgeous, and they dry down nicely. They dry fast. I don't know how, usually with watercolors, obviously how much water you use is going to depend on how fast your watercolors will dry, but overall it didn't take long at all for it to dry, to the touch at least. It's still kind of damp just a little bit, but to the touch. Then you could also, if you're wanting to speed it up a little bit, you could also use your heat tool if you needed to, if you're in a hurry and wanting to finish a project. But obviously with watercolor, if you possibly can, it's better to let the air dry, because that's what one of the properties and one of the whole purposes of watercolor, to get that whole feel, and it just dries differently. Against what if you were to dry it with your heat gun, it just looks a little bit different than if you were to let it to air dry. So either way, either look is good for me, I think. And I love those. I love the hard edges that you get. But like I said, this is not like a technique video or anything like that, but they dry down really beautifully. I think the colors are really nice. Like I said, they're really beautiful colors to work with. They're really nice and smooth when you obviously first use them out of the bottle. When they dry down, again, they've got just a tad bit of graininess, but I think if you add just a little bit more water, I just used a very little bit of water, but if you used more water and just work it out, I think all that will disappear, really. You can kind of see, yeah, I mean, it doesn't dry with those grains on your paper. You can kind of see that. So whenever you first see it onto the paper, it may look kind of grainy, but once it dries, it disappears, to my eye at least. So I hope that helps you guys. Like I said, this is like a little mini review, mostly swatches video of these watercolors. I really do like them. I'm glad that I have them, just to something else to play with instead of the traditional watercolors, which I do like, which the only ones that I personally own are I've got a really cheap set from Michaels that I've done a review on. And then I've got my my Gonzai Tombi watercolors, and of course my watercolor markers too. So, but just something for fun and quick and easy to use on your projects. I think they're, you know, like I said, very affordable and well worth the money in my opinion. So I hope this helps you guys out. If there's something else that you would like to know about these watercolors, leave your comments below and I will be sure to get to them, and I will try to answer any questions that you may have. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will be back with another video very soon.